is going to take damage. So from 400 HP, 300, 253 to 192, you know, like it's pretty incredible how quickly it dies, and he's forced to speed scroll to save it. And then Winners tries to steal the creeps, successfully does, but you know, negligent. And all the while he's creeping with his Beastmaster. So I mentioned this, frequently elf players will choose to creep instead of straight harassing, or instead of pushing your burrows at this point. And he's built, I don't think, he probably built only 1 or 2 archers actually, so very cheap of him. Cheap, by cheap I mean not very costly of him. What he chose to do, it doesn't give him very much to creep with or to harass with, but he chooses to excuse me, chooses to creep. Notice the Blade Master went for the wizard there. Didn't quite get the kill and is forced to windwalk away with very little health and very little mana. And the Beastmaster actually saw him because of the Sentry Ward and was able to cancel the heal on him. So that's unfortunate. A nice thing you're going to see Lyn do here, it's just after first day now, which you need to know is when the Scroll of Healing and the Potion of Invulnerability become available. And after he creeps this Renegade Wizard camp, he's going to steal Winner's Vulnerability and Scroll of Healing. I just got tabbed, so I'm sorry, I might be a little off. I'm at 8:10 right now in my game. 8:11, 8:12, 8:13, 8:14. My antivirus popped up. I'm sorry for that. So anyways, he stole the Scroll of Healing and the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability, which means the Demon Hunter has no Potion of Invulnerability and no Scroll of Healing without going all the way to Lyn's side of the map. So, I mean, I mentioned scroll denying somewhat. It'll be more important on Echo Isles, for example, when there's only one shop, but still very well played on his part to steal the Scroll and the Potion of Vulnerability. When Elf gets those, it's really a pain since it takes out hero focusing a lot. Anyways, all the while he's creeping the Torn Chieftain. Again, very, very important to creep the Torn Chieftain. I don't need to stress that anymore by the 4th game, I hope. The nice thing about this game, I mean, I mentioned it's probably not the best trade level 3 Demon Hunter for level 3 Blade Master. But actually it ends up benefiting Lyn more in this game, I think, in that he's able to, in that Winners doesn't play incredibly aggressively early on, partially because he didn't build so many archers, which allows Lyn to do a lot more stalking. And even though he doesn't, there's the Hawk there, so he can't really come in and steal creeps. Just knowing where the Elf is a huge advantage on your part, because it lets you know when you can get away with being where on the map. For example, now, because he knows where the Elf is, relatively speaking, he doesn't have to worry about his burrows being pushed. He doesn't have to worry about getting jacked so much at this creep camp, although he saw the Ancient War, so he knows the Elf's coming there pretty soon. But basically, that allows him to creep this camp and get the level 3 Torn Chieftain. So looking at food counts, 46 for Lyn, 45 for Winners. So I've mentioned the importance of getting a food advantage. That's unfortunately not worked out so well for Lyn. Winners has done a very good job of keeping up. He hired a merc, which is helping that, a mercenary, sorry. Notice Lyn has sent a peon to the gold mine. Anytime you have map control, and before the elf has 50 food, if possible, it's really nice to put up an expansion. Even if they take it down, you can often force fights when the elf doesn't want to fight. That is to say, before they have 50 food. And if it does go up, then keep in mind that dots do magic damage, which is terrible damage to buildings. So if they're ever attacking your expansion, you can head straight for their Moonwells, for their Tree of Life, and you will always win those battles due to the fact that you have pillage and the fact that you have siege damage on raiders. So Lyn saw the elf coming this way. Unfortunately, he's going to have to cancel his expansion, but because he knows that's where the elf is, and because he knows that the elf does not have a town portal, he heads straight to Winner's base. And I'm going to say this right now, this is the decision that Lyn makes that wins him the game, I think. He's caught Winners out of his base, far away from his base, without a town portal. He himself has a town portal, and look what he focuses. He sends 3 raiders, 2 raiders on that one Moonwell. It's going to die. A grunt and two grunts and the Blade Master on another one, and the Walkers, a raider, and the Torn Chieftain on the third. He's actually going to get all 3 Moonwells, which is 30 food, which sets the elf back obviously a huge amount. So looking at food now, it's 50 for 60 for Lyn, 46 for 20 for winners. Really unfortunate for winners, and very, very well played by Lynn. Looking at gold, some things to mention right away. First of all, he got a Bat Rider before 50 food, which you won't see too many orcs doing, especially not on my level of play, but very intelligent on his part. Notice also he's upgrading armor and weapons. Armor first, because it helps negate Fairy Fire, but because he's choosing not to go into 60 food, he's got the gold to upgrade armor, which is a nice decision on his part. Again, really smart. I mentioned this earlier with the bat. It becomes like a Blade Master when you get that bat out to counter the fairy dragons. In that you can pretty much constantly tell where the elf is by keeping him over the tree line, and there's nothing he can do. He can't really send his fairy dragons after you, obviously, because you're just going to detonate and kill them. So it's a free scout, and it helps him. He gets the Ancient of War kill there. And what getting that Ancient of War kill did is it freaked out Winners and made him worry about another burrow rape. So Winners headed back to his base. So even though they have equal food armies, basically 46 versus 50, Lynn has complete control of the map and is able, notice the, just incredible play by Lynn. The Bat Rider at the bridge south of Winner's base, and he's also sending a peon just now to the bridge to the left of his base. So he'll pretty much know where Winners is on the map at all times, even if he can't see Winners' army. It's basically like he's got a map hack. So very well played. And you'll notice he's trying to snipe this fairy dragon with that hawk. And Winners, very, very good move on Winners' part. He sends it into Mana Flare, whatever version that's called, before the bat comes, and that allows him to survive and not actually die to the bat. So good micro on Winners' part. Here's where the peon pays off pretty well. If you look on Lynn's point of view, he sees the elf's army. He knows exactly where the elf is. Notice he's banked 1,000 gold, 50 for 70 food, and now he's heading into upkeep. He's got a bat, a raider, and a Kodo building. So now he only has 500 food, but I mean, very good example of how you can manipulate map control to your advantage without ever making an expansion. So Winner's staffs as a Demon Hunter back. All he's trying to do is stop the pillage rape of his base. If you're the elf in this situation, what he just did is very intelligent. He cycloned the Torn Chieftain, which has the town portal. So if you want to force a fight, that's obviously the smart thing to do, is cyclone the hero with the town portal, and that gives Winners a raider kill. So well played on Winner's part. But at this point, 57 for 70 food, 780 banked, 50 for 40 food, 400 banked, 500 banked. Lynn is in very, very good shape. And he's got bats out. Pretty damn good shape for Lynn. Notice also he's got some scrolls, a potion of invulnerability on the Blade Master, which means he's going to be impervious to Cyclone for 7 seconds. I know it doesn't seem like much, but that's actually a very useful 7 seconds. One thing I think Lynn should have done and didn't do is have a mana pot on his Torn Chieftain. And you're going to see only Lynn. I mean, this is exactly what would happen to me in ladder, for example. This fight, 64 versus 70 food. 64 versus 50 food, so Lynn has a 14 food advantage, but he gets jacked, and this is what happens to so many orc players. 100 mana burn goes off on the Torn Chieftain. There is no mana in the Torn Chieftain right now, so he has no mana for Shockwave, and you're going to see this fight does not go so well for Lynn, even though he had a 14 food advantage. So the Kodo gets focused down pretty quickly after it ensnares, after it devours. The dots are actually not the best position at the moment. The Demon Hunter left to chase down the Kodo. He's going to get that kill, so he gets his dot back. But because there's no mana, no Shockwave, and because he wasn't able to snipe the Fairy Dragons before the fight, because it was a jack, that Fairy Dragon has been tearing up the walkers. You're going to see 2 of them are very, very weak. So Winners, look at this, Winners is at 50 food. He entered the fight with 50 food, and he still has 50 food. And Lynn, who entered the fight with 64 food, only has 54 food. So pretty, I mean, if you're Lynn, you're probably very upset at your play right there. 50 food and 54 food. So you went from a 14 food advantage to a 4 food advantage, and the elf never lost his food count, which is pretty incredible. Anyways, this is where Lynn Micro takes over, if you ask me. The nice thing about fighting